So our final formal presentation for this wonderful symposium is going to be from Matteo Messori, who will give us a lecture recital on the Esercizi of Giovanni Alberto Ristori. So while he's getting himself organized, just a little about him. He's currently a professor both at the Conservatory of Venice and Reggio Emilia, sorry, other way around, where he teaches organ composition, harpsichord, historical keyboard instruments, and the whole gamut of things. And I know that certainly quite a few of our students will have benefited from his exciting teaching this week. So please let us welcome Matteo Messori.
Audio functions, maybe, yeah. So first, I sincerely thank the organizers of this wonderful initiative. I got the chance to reflect and learn a lot, really, thanks to the musical and scientific interventions, presentations I heard in these days. It was a great honor to work with excellent students I met here in Vienna. Thank you all very much, really. And what I will say, and especially what I will play for 20 minutes, are framed within my predilection for investigating the musical relationship between Italy and German-speaking countries. Two nationalities that for nearly a millennium have represented two sides of the same coin, both belonging, for the most part, Switzerland maybe not, to that supranational and multi-confessional state, largely marked by dialectalism, local culture, and a certain tendency toward institutional anarchy that was the Roman Empire of German nation. A state that included Frescobaldi's Ferrara and the Lutheran Saxony, Bononcini's Modena, and Johann Sebastian Bach Thüringen. The quotation from these three passages from the 17th to the 19th centuries by three Germans, a musician, Heinrich Schütz, a musicologist, Emil Naumann, the grandfather of him was Johann Gottlieb Naumann, student in Padua of Vallotti, in Bologna of Padre Martini, and Dresden Kapellmeister, and intellectual and philosopher like Friedrich Nietzsche, confirm the deep connection and gratitude that artists from Germany and the world of German culture have always had for humanity. Read them carefully. Nietzsche is very funny, of course. But there is Germania und Italia sind Schwester, sisters. And this was very deeply felt by people, by musicians, artists, until maybe a moment in which German music maybe became better than Italian. I find, because I'm a Bach fan, of course. And about Ristori, the collection of Esercizi per l'accompagnamento I found is maybe the best Italian collection of Partimenti, for sure, of the first half of the century, of the 18th century. I find it really worth of concert playing today, and less. Is of course Esercizi, Übung, didactic, but can be a little bit more unruhig, wie die Deutschen sagen. There is a mixture of stili, lo stile misto, from Italy and Germany, Saxony. But Ristori was born in Vienna, and I discovered it some years ago, and I published an article together with Anna Katarzyna Zaremba, I think, from Warsaw. I was able to discover that he was baptized here in the Cathedral of Vienna, and not like everybody before told in Bologna. So Ristori was from Vienna, and maybe, I don't know if the organizer wanted to finish this beautiful conference with Viennese Partimento, because in some way these are Viennese Partimento. And the father of Ristori was from Parma, Tommaso Ristori, but capocomico, very famous throughout Europe in Saxony, and was also the director, stage director of the Kärntner Tortheater nearby. And so Ristori was born here, but we don't know anything about the education. I suspect maybe also the local organist here. Why not Fuchs? Why not many Italians here? Of course, Antonio Pancotti, less known, Giovanni Bononcini from Modena, from Bologna, Marco Antonio Ziani, Carlo and Antonio Draghi. They could be the very first teachers of him. Then we have everybody has written that he was from Bologna. I investigated in the State Archive of Bologna the notary things about apartment, houses, theaters. I didn't find anything. Only this letter was already published. He's Stefano Benedetto Pallavicino, son of the Carlo Pallavicino opera composer in Dresden. And he wrote to London from Warsaw. And he tried to get a place for him in London, because maybe was tired to be the Polish Chapelmeister. So between Dresden, Warsaw, and Russia, every 3 months. And of course, I didn't say, because I want to be a little bit faster in my presentation, that is a very pivotal composer for the Union Saxon-Polish Union. So he was the first opera composer in Russia with Calandro. He was the organist of the Polish chapel of the King of Poland, so Elector of Saxony. After the death of Johann Christian Petzold, and I think that is very important to look to the Petzold keyboard virtuoso concerti in Venetian Vivaldi style, has a model for realization, why not, and also of ornamentation. So he tells he's a good musician, composes with naturalness, does well church stuff, and is an excellent harpsichord accompanist, like that which is of the school of Bologna. That doesn't mean that he studied in Bologna. Maybe he was worth of the Bologna school. Me and Peter Vantur think that there is a system of Bolognese didactics, and maybe he was trained in this system, but maybe in Parma or in Vienna by a Bolognese. Maybe, and I think this is more possible, Nicoletta is not here, but she recorded a CD of the Bologna composer and harpsichord virtuoso Pietro Giuseppe Sandoni, that was the London harpsichordist under Handel Beaton, and maybe Pallavicino is trying to convince Giuseppe Riva in London to employ with Sandoni Ristori. So this that which is of the school of Bologna is Sandoni, I think. So he is good as Sandoni, as good as Sandoni. Sorry for my English. Venice. Venice is another possibility of education. We know that he wrote the first Vivaldi opera. Vivaldi was not so able to write operas, but hired with the father, Giovanni Battista Antonio, a theater, and they asked to Ristori and the father to make their first opera, Orlando Furioso, 1713, and was so successful that Vivaldi did again 1 year later his first opera, Orlando Furioso, that is 80% Ristori music. Sardelli doesn't agree with me, but you can check both scores. And then Lotti was, of course, an influence on the beautiful passion duets, Divoti affetti della passione di Nostro Signore, that is a collection for the private Catholic chapel in Dresden of duets on Latin texts that are beautiful, beautiful, much better than Lotti, but in Lotti dedicated the madrigals to the emperor here in Vienna. So in Venice there were Bologna masters. Gasparini was trained by Pasquini, but Pasquini was trained in Ferrara. People forget This fashion to tell that Partimento came from Naples is for me completely a great historical mistake. I tell always to Peter that is the most comprehensive with me, because the first Partimenti, Augusta, the first Partimenti are maybe Paumann, but in some way the first written Partimenti came from Bologna, that was the musical city of Roman state. So Bologna was not German Empire. Modena, yes, Bologna not. And so we have Banchieri, we have maybe this canzona of yesterday I published, maybe, but we have also Gasparini, trained by Giovanni Paolo Colonna, trained in Rome by Carissimi. We have Pasquini trained Gasparini, and Gasparini was in Venice, and then a Bologna master. We have a collection of 30 from the 1732 of Partimenti by Saratelli in 24 keys. And this is a typical Bologna tradition. We have discovered something from the Martini school that is in 24 keys, and this always with figures. So what happened? So we don't know really esercizi per l'accompagnamento. What is accompagnamento? Another mistake is to call always Partimento, because Partimento is a word, like Augusta told, used in South Italy, and is a word to indicate a basso continuo part at the beginning. So a Partimento at the base for the mess with voices. In all Europe, normally it was esercizio per l'accompagnamento. What is accompagnamento? The accompagnamento are the parts above the bass. You have to invent or give or to write or to think. And so it is not, many colleagues think accompanimento is to accompany a violin. No, it's the opposite. It's to accompany with the bass. And this also in a dictionary, I published an article about it, a dictionary from Vienna, from Brahms' side, to accompany the piano with the singing. Vienna, 1892. So the bass is always, of course, the most important part. Also, if people prefer the melody, of course. And how are structured? 3 ripieni, Bologna style. So there are figures. Bologna, Petra can correct me because he's much more musicologist than me, but I think the Bologna style is a very simple bass with figures, a modulation, again the same bass, a modulation, again the same bass. So I find also the Bologna, I'm from Bologna, a little bit boring. But there are 3 of such pieces, but Ristori makes something more interesting. The first I've realized with organo pleno pedaliter in Saxon way, and is better, 4 voice. So something not really Italian. Then we have 13 preludes, small preludes, and fughettas. Italians didn't call fughettas fughetta, but versets. That is the same. For us, versetti are short keyboard pieces. And here I see an influence from Saxony in some way, and I will show you. Then there are 12 beautiful, 8 of these prelude and fuguette are in the 8th church keys, tones. And so I think they are more comfortable at the organ. These are prelude and fugues. But from here we have something more organ-like a little bit, and second tone in the fashion of the time. The 8 church tones are really tonal, not modal, but and so this is organ music. So a part of the collection maybe was written not for the princesses of Saxony, because this collection was written for the princess of collection, Maria Amalia, her 5 younger sisters, Friedrich Christian, then king, and his wife, the very musically and artistically talented Maria Walpurgis. Padre Martini will dedicate his duet to Maria Walpurgis, that was student of Hasse, for the singing. also of Porpora, of Ristori for the accompaniment, and of Breunig, the church musician, a Jesuit, for church music. And this is organ music. I will play some of this on the harpsichord. About the organ, there is Professor Peretti. There was a Catholic organ in the Catholic chapel. He was also teacher of the Kapelle Knaben of the Catholic chapel in Dresden. Was in Dresden-Neustadt. There is still the organ by Tobias Schramm, now in another church, in a Catholic Castle church in Saxony, and is a student of Zilberman, a little Zilberman organ with 12 stops in 8 foot, the manual, and two pedal stops. There is another piece with pedal. I will show you. And from this part, I think we have something happened after the coming back of Ristori from Naples. For 2 years, Ristori went to Naples and did 2 operas. We have still the score in San Pietro Maiella, very big Neapolitan opera. Here we have concertante partimenti, I have called in stile di concerto, where there is not only continuo bass, but also the concertino in higher clefs. And these are beautiful pieces, worth of the best Italian keyboard literature of the time. Then you will listen if my riempimenti are enough worth of him. But we have this part, and here the Vivaldi or Venetian influence is very strong. Then we can discuss if concerto is from Venice or from Bologna, taken to Venice. But in any case, we have this, and is always an exercise for the changing of clefs, of course. But we have really pieces also very fashionable pieces. This is beautiful. I will finish with this. And then there is an organ piece with pedal, and this show clearly that the compression of the writing in one staff has nothing to do, because I start this with an octave higher with right hand and pedal, then pedal I play the bass, is clearly an alternation pedal bass, no? And then there are riempimenti to put maybe in fugue, like a toccata. This is a toccata on the pedals, toccata sui pedali, with a beautiful Dresden fugue with diminished seventh down, and it's very similar to I find to the I don't know if I remember, there is a beautiful prelude and fugue for 2 flutes and strings by Wilhelm Friedrich Bach in Dresden, and this is a little bit the fugue similar. About Naples, he was guest by a famous Kapellmeister. I think it was Porpora. And I think that I will publish it shortly. I told this morning that Johann Sebastian Bach was together Ristori and Porpora in the same room. Maybe it's too long to explain, but maybe after we do. And so Peter August is the copyist of this beautiful copy. Peter August was student only under Ristori. Was a Polish child found in the forest. There was Peter from Russia and August from Saxony. They found a small baby. They taken, and Peter August, the Tsar, and they gave him to Ristori. He wrote beautiful harpsichord sonatas and was the court copyist. Beautiful copies, but he copied 2 copies, beautiful Dresden copies, Bach sources of the Wohltemperierte Clavier, and so Bach living, because are before the Bach death. So, but we will. The clavichord is the first instrument for this, of course, and the clavichord connection between Ristori, Porpora, and Bach is about clavichord, and is something written in a French dictionary some years after Bach death. So I tell you, a very famous Kapellmeister from Italy went to Saxony. and was shocked, and was guest from another Italian Kapellmeister that was since many years in Saxon. I think Ristori and Porpora. He arrived, Porpora, for the first time in Dresden around 31. And was shocked that everybody in Germany hated harpsichord, of course. Now Bach is the new fashion after Landowska to play Bach the harpsichord, but it's clavichord music, and I'm a clavicordist, not an harpsichordist, only for Couperin, Frescobaldi, of course. But and he was shocked that everybody in Germany played only a clavichord, and in Italy, in that time, clavichord was spinetta sordina, so the worst instrument because he was not able to sing with voice. And the other Italian Kapellmeister, sorry, story maybe, in my hypothesis, told him, wait a moment, and I take you by Sebastian Bach. Sebastian Bach, very gentle, very kind. Ah, yeah. Sebastian Bach conducts the Collegium Musicum two Porpora cantatas in 32. So this is my part. Bach starts a prelude. This is de la Bach, l'essai de la musique de la Bach. Bach document. Started to play, and the Italian famous Kapellmeister started to shock. And then Bach made a very free aria. I think Porpora started to cry, embraced Bach, and told, this is not the worst instrument, but the king of all instruments. This was a clavichord. So, but Grebner did clavichords for the princesses' rooms, private rooms. And we know that Ristori gave lessons in the private rooms as a clavichord by Grebner. This is one of the most beautiful keyboard pieces from Italy, worth of Scarlatti, also of Handel. Maybe I was better. And an exercise for the baritone, the less used clefs, baritone, French violin, and mezzo-soprano. I will play. Modulation patterns. And the last thing, the beautiful sonata per l'accompagnamento, only continuo, so Bologna tradition, in 3 movements. This is really a sonata for harpsichord. I have to record on Zilberman piano, Grebner harpsichord, clavichord, and Zilberman or Schramm original organ. All this collection, but I'm blocked because it's really difficult, this sonata, and I'm too lazy. And Saratelli, very short, and then I play Saratelli Partimenti. So Bologna tradition, its potential. The question. One potential for me is to compose in historical style. Why not compose in historical style? Peter is against me because he came from post-avant-garde tradition. Me not. Sorry, and I'm completely tonal and modal. The last is Shostakovich model for me, but the Prelude and Fugues. And so what happened? I wrote a sonata in 4 movements for the 2 organs of the Frari Basilica in Venice. Last month they played, and the best part, maybe you can listen in YouTube, are my part. So there is a big fugue after Bach model, a choral that was written because my father has problem of health. Wrote a choral because I'm Lutheran. When wir in höchsten Noten sein for 2 Italian Venetian organs, and this was maybe the best moment. A gigue, but the prelude came from a Saratelli Partimento. So you can see what is a Saratelli Partimento that I completely transformed in C minor from B minor, and without to have all this cello brise style. But there are some mistakes of my students, but they are violinists, and they played. So only the first tempo is very short, and this is a Partimento in Bologna tradition. it follows a fugue, and only the subject. The subject is taken freely from the collection. Yesterday, Peter showed you of 517 subjects that in Danzig, maybe by Gronau. The subject is this. It's only the subject is taken. Then the structure is the Bach 2 harpsichord fugue. And okay, Kirchhoff, you know a little bit. Prelude and Fugues by Kirchhoff is another influence on Ristori, and then I play, promise. This is a little, I think the Kirchhoff pieces I use for my organ teaching always, but are not nice. Maybe so is a little bit better. To manual and pedal, a trio, to study the octave compass of pedal board, every time different. Similar to Ristori in some way. Ristori is more Venetian concertato sometimes, but sometimes it's very Saxon. So maybe there is a Zachov tradition, Zachov, Handel, Kirchhoff, of these small prelude and fugues for the organist. The Pasquini tradition. Pasquini, Krieger, Zachov, Kirchhoff. Pedalita. Okay, there are many 4 hours of these things. I will play now my dispositions. They come from my lessons with many students, recorded after the lessons with video, and then worked a little bit in order to memorize. There is two style, Italian two-voice style, or trio style, with the botte delle consonanze, the feeling, like in many music for organ, with number or chords, or two parts and chords. Okay, I ask Matteo. I will play 11 Partimenti, very short, and at 25 we will finish. They give me the permission to be a little bit longer.
I guess I'm holding on to this. We actually have time for 1 or 2 questions at the end of this, and I will, I think, just hand the microphone over to answer so that we don't have to fight with the strange machine again. So we have 1 microphone for questions and 1 microphone for Matteo. So who would like to ask something or say something? Yes, Jason.
Thanks very much for this, let's say, deluge of information and music and notes and the wonderful realizations. I was wondering, you said at some point you were playing disposizioni that come from your lessons with various students. I was wondering, how did you come to these disposizioni exactly? Is it? Would you say that? Is it a work with the students? I'm looking for a little look into your lesson because I unfortunately didn't make one.
Hermano Wolf Ferrari, thank you for the question. Hermano Wolf Ferrari didn't want to teach anymore, but Hitler asked him to teach in Mozarteum, and they told, yes, why not? Because I have to teach myself every day, and so if I do with louder, is the same, and so loud, and so we use normally for continual lesson different kind of partimentos. I prefer don't use the Naples ones because are a little bit systematic. Maybe at the just beginning, the Durante things maybe, and then I don't like so much the second part of the century. I'm 17th century fan, and also 16th century, and so why not? We started with this collection. I'm interested in Dresden narrations, shoots. And I saw this 20 years ago. Now it's online since many years, and we work on the Partimento 2 hours, 3 hours, and at the end of the lesson I put my telephone on the keyboard. They play, and I play also my version. Sometimes I record all the lesson if I have ideas, because then when I'm in train back, then Juve Tamming asked me to play this in San Colombano in Bologna, or a concert with duetti, and so I put on paper, and of course you can realize everything much better. but why not? Peter yesterday told that there is Partimento and contrapoint are together. There are different levels. Of course, the not correct level, I think, is to give chords. If not, Adolf Bernhard Marx speaks against continuo, and he's right. But of course, we have to know the implicit 4-part harmony in order to make Stil brisé, gebrochener Stil, Geigenstil, violin. Also, I don't know. It's only one of the many. Today, with a student, we worked this Hamol, and they gave me completely other ideas, much better. There was a double contrapunct, maybe, also in the just written tutti. Why not? So these are really are fruit of the lessons, and I have to record. I don't record since 5 years in the contract, because if you record, you have to fix, and so it's impossible to fix it some way. Thank you.
Hello, thank you so much for your tour de force. It was really amazing. I was just wondering, and hopefully it's not too personally geeky, about the modulations. What kind of approach is taken there?
By Ristori?
Yeah.
In Ristori? I think the modulations are to the normal circle of modulation of the Baroque age, so the 4th degree, 5th degree, the parallelen, tonic parallel, subdominant parallel. Everything very simple, very, very transparent, very Italian, very Venetian, very Vivaldi. No, I think I feel a lot of Vivaldi inside. Then I give a little bit of Handel, Bach, maybe. But this ritornello, the episodes, the solos, the soli, Italian, are completely a little bit Venetian, a little bit Napolitan. So there is still a misto in Dresden, so in Germany. So Italo-Teutonica Musa, I come back.
Thank you.
I think one more question if there's time. Or or if there's an urgent question. Otherwise, once again, a big thank you to both of our speakers this afternoon. And yes, and a last round of applause. I believe there's now a short break before the final round table. So see you again very soon.